The commission for this prop was to recreate two items from the Morrow project, which is a paper and pencil role-playing game. The two items I built were the Morrow project CBR and Medkit. They're semi-practical props in that they have some lights and whistles and so on. There are very few details given in the game materials. One of the constraints we went by is that they should fit into standard ammo pouches. First off, the medkit. In-universe, the medkit is it's basically a medical tricorder. It's a diagnosis and treatment device. Whatever it does, it's got this little doohickey in the back that you can apply to an injured limb. Who knows how it's supposed to work? The way in which it can supposedly analyze a injury or disease, give out a small amount of medical advice, give out doses of whatever it has inside. That's what caused me to make it look a little bit like a tricorder, this kind of hood-like shape with the 3 buttons and etc. So this was actually the bottom part of it. The shape was adapted from an actual U.S. Army field medical kit. The top was sculpted in balsa wood and other materials, and the whole thing was cast in plastic to make it hollow. There's some very simplistic, minimal electronics in here. See if I can get the right button here. So we got a blinking LED and a little bit of a display, which it just displays the numbers 000. Nothing too special, and a little sound effect. It's one of those greeting card chips. Very cheap, very basic. The knob is 3D printed, the electronics parts are off the shelf. The CBR took a little bit more work. The base is again sculpted and then cast in plastic. The top and the knobs were designed in 3D printed. So it has little details here. Anyway, it has a vacuum fluorescent display with an Arduino circuit driving it. Now, in universe, this is it's a radiological and biological chemical threat detector. The reason for these two lights and this kind of zoning here is one of them indicates a radiological threat, and that's connected up to the sensitivity meter here. The other is a chemical or biological threat. There's also this test setting here. So if there were something the device had detected, then it would presumably flash the lights, make a siren, or be connected up to a vehicle-mounted siren for even more noise. But since it doesn't actually have, this practical prop does not actually have detectors on it, it's not going to be that exciting. So I added in electronically a test setting. Turn off one of these lights and see if that... Nope. There we go. So it's walking through a... can't really see that very well. So it's walking through a kind of a mimicked test sequence on this vacuum fluorescent display. You could also just use the test button to get a "Yes, I'm working" display. The next setting is simply alarmed, where supposedly it is now looking for threats, and a silent, which is just the same except that it won't make a loud noise. That's going to be very useful. The last one is the treatment setting. The treatment setting is a touch-sensitive switch here. So it is supposedly giving out a dosage until it runs out of doses. It'll actually count down and then give an error message and say, please refill me. Going back, to make things more interesting, I made the test circuit. So the test circuit simulates, depending on whether I hold the button in for a short time or a long time, a simulated threat. So I've given it a threat, and it's now going, there doesn't seem to be any way of getting this to really display well on the camera. Okay. So the simulation is pretending that there's something dangerous. Put that light back out, it's not helping. Did that help? Just a little. It's actually displaying a random value for parts per minute. Oh. And that's why we have the silent. So, switching back again, we're going to go walk through a... Oops. Okay. Walk through a simulated radiological threat. Let's try holding it here again so we can at least see some of the display. It's going to wait a random amount of time to get the Geiger counter sound. All of these sounds are generated by an Arduino using variations of the tone library. The Arduino is driving a high-power shift register, which is running everything else, mostly the vacuum fluorescent display. It's a hand-wired and we put that back on silent. Anyway, that's it. That's all the functionality I have of these two props.